The secret of the Queen and Prince Philip's long-lasting marriage isn't what you'd expect. There were moments when Philip's bluntness would embarrass the Queen, but she was not averse to telling him herself to shut up. She was the Queen, but Prince Philip never shied away from telling her exactly what was what. Lord Charteris, the monarch's former private secretary, once recalled Prince Philip as the only man in the world who treats the Queen simply as another human being. He's the only man who can. Strange as it may seem, I believe she values that, he told royal writer Gyles Brandreth. Hello and welcome to Royal Scandal. Please do well to like, subscribe, comment and turn on the notification bell so as not to miss out on any news updates. The success of the Queen and Philip's long-lasting marriage was put down to their compatibility. They shared interests and had the same dutiful royal training. Both loved horses and the outdoor life, both were undemonstrative by nature, regarding displays of emotion as something to be kept private. Yet in character, the Queen and Philip were markedly different. She was passive, cautious, and conventional. He was more adventurous, tempestuous, and active. Their partnership was a traditional one, and the Queen grew up in a world where it was the man who was in charge behind closed doors. A friend of the royals once told biographer Sarah Bradford, "He shouts at the Queen sometimes like he shouts at other people and she doesn't seem to mind. She knew how to handle him and would retort, 'Oh Philip, do shut up. You don't know what you're talking about.' When he shouted at her in private, she would calmly ignore it." The Queen clearly adored the Duke. During public engagements, she could sometimes be seen waiting for him to catch up with her as he lingered behind entertaining the guests. "Where's Philip?" she would ask, and, on catching sight of him walking towards her, would give a small chuckle and flash him a beaming smile. In the early days of their marriage, Philip was sometimes strident and, according to close friends, Elizabeth would not fight back. Later she learned to resist and, in the end, the royal couple achieved a kind of harmony, said the Queen's biographer Ben Pimlott. But their domestic relationship could perhaps best be illustrated by an anecdote recounted by Lord Mountbatten. Philip, who had a record of minor motoring accidents, was driving his wife and Mountbatten to Cowdray Park. The Queen, worried about the speed at which Philip was going, started to tense herself and draw in breath. Eventually her husband turned to her and barked, "If you do that once more I shall put you out of the car." She stopped immediately. When they arrived, Mountbatten asked her, "Why didn't you protest? You were quite right, he was going much too fast." The Queen looked puzzled and replied, "But you heard what he said." The difficulties facing the royal family since 1992, the Queen's annus horribilis, were said to have brought the couple closer together. The Duke, who had mellowed with age, became noticeably more considerate and supportive. "He's unsung for the total support he gives to the Queen," a royal household insider once told author Sarah Bradford. "They're like Darby and Joan now, it's very sweet really." While on honeymoon, Princess Elizabeth wrote to the Queen Mother, in letters seen by the biographer William Shawcross, and declared, "Philip is an angel, he is so kind and thoughtful, and living with him and having him around all the time is just perfect." Philip in turn wrote to tell his mother-in-law of his deep love for his new wife. "Lilibet is the only thing in the world which is absolutely real to me, and my ambition is to weld the two of us into a new combined existence that will not only be able to withstand the shocks directed at us but will have a positive existence for the good," he said. On the Queen's accession, Philip watched her become the single most important woman in the country and discovered that his own children would not be allowed to take his name. He later won a part concession when in 1960 it was announced that the Queen's descendants, when they needed a surname, would use Mountbatten Windsor. He devoted his married life to supporting the Queen, giving up his naval career to be by her side. At the start of her reign, he helped her in particular with her public speaking, encouraging her to lower her voice when she spoke. He was incredibly protective of his wife and would berate photographers who got too close. A cruise of Commonwealth countries in 1956 took Philip away from the Queen for 4 months, prompting rumors of a rift between them, but there was no evidence that all was not well. On their golden wedding anniversary in 1997, the Duke praised his wife for her abundance of tolerance. "I think the main lesson that we have learned is that tolerance is the one essential ingredient of any happy marriage," he said. The Queen spoke of him fondly in return. "All too often, I fear, Prince Philip has had to listen to me speaking," she said. "Frequently we have discussed my intended speech beforehand and, as you will imagine, his views have been expressed in a forthright manner. He is someone who doesn't take easily to compliments, but he has, quite simply, been my strength and stay all these years, and I, and his whole family, and this and many other countries, owe him a debt greater than he would ever claim, or we shall ever know." Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip had a relationship that spanned over 7 decades. In the Palace Papers, author Tina Brown revealed Philip's sweet marriage advice. A former member of the Queen's staff told Brown, in his 90s, Philip asked, "Do you want some marriage advice? Spend enough time apart, and make sure you don't have all the same interests." Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe.